Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie, number 23. Today's topic is golf, moving, and goal setting, and we'll talk about what those things have to do with each other in just a little bit. Before I get started with that, in case you don't know me, my name is Evie Burke, and I work with entrepreneurs just like you, and I help them take their productivity to a new level. And before we get started, I would love to know, what is your motivation for joining me here today? What are you hoping to learn, or what are you interested in about these topics? Or are you just here for the stories? Whatever the reason, I'd love to know that below. Another thing I want to share with you before we get started is I have something I'm really excited about coming up. In June, I will be starting a program that is a good fit for you if you are somebody who loves what you do, but maybe it feels a little overwhelming sometimes, all of the stuff that comes with it, and maybe you're in a spot where you're getting the day-to-day done, but those big goals, the big dreams that you had for yourself and your business, you haven't found a way to work that time in for those things yet. And if that's where you find yourself, I would love it if you would join us in this program. It is called Take Your Productivity to a New Level. It is a 4-week productivity mastery course. And you can head over to oneinsightcloser/TPNL and join us there. And I'm just going to include the link below or here. Let me refresh this page. So this is for you if you're ready not to just get the urgent things done, but you're also ready to move on to some of those important things. And it's also for you if you're ready to have time not only for the things that you have to do in your business, but the things that you love to do. If you want to have some more time off in your business, if you want to be able to hit those goals that you've been dreaming of, if you want to have time to do some of the other things, and it's summer, so it's a time where we have a lot of things outside of our business that we want to do. So if you've been working a lot of weekends or putting in long hours and you're trying to figure out, how do I streamline this? How do I really work my business maybe a little bit smarter and still get everything done that I want to? This is a great program for you to go to check out. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it. And we'll go into great detail in this program on things like today's topic, goal setting. So let's go ahead and talk about goal setting. So one of the things that I wrote about in Tuesday in the email that went out is I talked about the NCAA Division I golf tournament that's actually finishing up today. And it's happening over at Rich Harvest Farms, which is, I think it's right outside of Sugar Grove. And I had the opportunity to go there and walk around the course over Memorial Day weekend because my husband provides the internet for Rich Harvest Farms, so he's providing all the wireless internet for everything that's happening out there. So he had a pass to be out there, and he had a guest pass, and so we went and we walked around. And I mean, I've been hearing about this event for probably over a month because, you know, they were out there getting things ready before the event and talking with the different groups that were going to be out there, you know, the Golf Channel, concessions, you know, all the little and big moving pieces that are happening out there. And when I was walking around, I just marveled at how many moving pieces there were, and how smoothly everything seemed to be running. It was really interesting to see, you know, everybody that was just, you know, this is the part that I am responsible for, and so this is what I'm going to focus on. At one point, Nate pointed out, he's like, "Do you see that guy in the striped shirt?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "He's the owner." And he was picking up some litter that's, you know, somebody had left on one of the trails. And, you know, wasn't upset about it, just, oh, this needs to be done, and, you know, did it. And that really seemed to be how everybody was working out there. It was just, this is something that needs to be done, I'm going to do it, and there was a lot of enthusiasm from the people that I ran into that I talked to. But again, it reminded me how many moving pieces there are for something like that, and how you really have to plan something like that out and trust that everybody's going to do their part for it to really work out well. And it seemed like that everything was going well from my perspective anyway. Everything looked like it was just going swimmingly. So all of those moving pieces made me think about a couple of moving stories. And the first one comes from when Nate, my husband, and I helped a friend of ours move several years ago. And she had asked a number of people to come and help her move. And so when we got there was probably like a dozen or so of us there to help out. It was friends and it was family. Her two kids, I think they were in high school at the time, they were there. And we showed up, it was probably somewhere like around 9 o'clock, and the entire house was already packed. I think there was one closet that hadn't been packed, but it wasn't stuff that needed to be moved to the new house. And she had everything ready. They had rented a moving truck, just like a U-Haul or something. And, we got there and we started moving things, and she knew what she wanted to put in the truck first. She knew what needed to go next. She divvied people up based on what their abilities were, so, okay, we're going to have the guys move the heavy furniture. There's a couple of people, can you go and pull that stuff out of the closet, because that needs to be donated. That's not the stuff that's stuff that's not moving. But she managed everything, and it went really smooth. So before noon, everything was moved over to the new house, and it was like maybe just a couple of miles away. Everything was moved over to the new house. The truck was unpacked early afternoon and going back. And by the time we left, and I'm just looking at my notes because I made a note what time we left. It was early afternoon, so probably like 3 o'clock. By the time we left, everything was unpacked. The bedrooms, all of the rooms didn't have the boxes in them for the rooms, but everything was grouped so they knew where it was. All of the beds had been put together or assembled and were made. There were clothes in the dressers in the rooms for, everybody that lived in the house. And they had everything out, or they knew where it was, everything that they needed for the next 12 to 24 hours as they worked through, once everybody left, starting to put the rest of the pieces of the house away. And the other thing that happened was, talking about using the abilities of the people who are volunteering. Her mother and her mother's best friend, who is like a second grandma to her kids, they had made lunch for everybody. And it wasn't, a big done-up lunch. It was buffet style, but it was good homemade food. And so she fed everybody. So there was also, that little extra bit of, hey, thank you for taking some time out of your Saturday to come and help me move. Here's some food. And before everybody left, everybody got a personal, thank you for helping me and a hug from her. It was just done very, very well. Now, contrast that to the story that my parents share from when they helped a friend of theirs move when I was very, very little, and I don't remember this at all. They showed up about maybe an hour before the moving truck with actual movers were going to come and move them, or, load up the truck, and the house didn't look like anyone was moving. The house looked like it was just any other day. And they were like, well, why don't you have anything packed? And they said, oh, well, the movers are going to do that. And my parents were saying, well, but you only have the movers for a day, so you needed to have the house packed up, maybe not everything, but most of it packed up before they got here so that they can then, go to the next town over where they were moving to, and then get everything unpacked. You're not going to be able to, unless you have like a whole team of movers, which they didn't, you're not going to get everything moved. And they're like, oh, really? And so my parents say it was then, okay, take this drawer, dump it in a box. Is it full? No? Okay, let's dump something else in the box. If it's full or if it's getting too heavy, let's tape it up and start with the next box. And so when everything got moved to the house, no one knew what was where because everything had just been packed really haphazardly in order to quickly get it packed and moved. So which one is the better moving story? Which is the one that you would want to be a part of if you were helping? Or which one would you, if you were the person moving, which one is the experience that you would like? Now I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that you want to be the first one. You want to have everything done beforehand, everything labeled. You want to know, have plenty of help that day, and you want things to run smooth, right? That's generally how we want things to go. And in, going back to the golf tournament, everybody knows what's happening, right? Everybody knows this is what's happening when. Now in your business, when you're planning things out, when you're looking at goals that you want to reach, how are you approaching it? Are you just saying, okay, I'm just going to show up and everything's going to work out for me, and you're not doing a lot of pre-planning, and then you're going, I wonder why that didn't go well? Or are you looking at what needs to be done before then, and how do you need to set things up, and what help do you need? Which one do you think is going to give you the experience or the success that you want? Right, again, it's going to be the planning things out, making sure that everything that needs to be done beforehand is done. That's going to be what's going to lead to your success. So let's just kind of break down the things that went right in the example of my friends who moved several years ago. So I have my notes here. I'm just going to pull them out and I'm going to read through it here. So she had a goal with a specific date. She had, this is when we are moving and this is what needs to be done. She had all the pre-work done prior to that date. So she had the packing done. She had everything labeled. She had even been over to the new place and cleaned the new place to her standards because she didn't want to be moving into a dirty house, which it was clean, but sometimes you like to clean it yourself just to make sure it's where you want it, right? She asked for and received help from her friends and her family. And everybody played nicely together. Everyone worked well together, and things went pretty smoothly. Everyone was clear on their goals and what their strengths were and applied them accordingly. So if somebody was going to be trying to move something that maybe wasn't weighed more than what they could lift, generally they weren't asked to do that anyway, but if they found themselves in that position, it wasn't a problem to say, hey, this box is too heavy for me. Can somebody else go and do that? And she showed everybody that she appreciated their help by one, feeding everybody, and two, giving everybody that helped out a hug and personally saying thank you. Nobody walked out of there without being personally thanked by her for the effort that they put in. Now, let's imagine that you are being asked by somebody to help them out with a move. If you've had a previous experience helping somebody move, what experience do you want to be able to say, oh yeah, sure, I'll help you? You want the one that I've been talking about, right? You want the one where everything was done beforehand, everything went smoothly. That's the one you want to be a part of. And, to kind of prove this point, she moved a couple years later, and again, asked some of the same friends and family, hey, can you help me out with moving to the new house? And no one had any qualms about helping her. That time I wasn't a participant in the move. I volunteered to watch the dog for the day so that the dog was not underfoot, and I think I got the best end of that bargain, and she was very appreciative because then they didn't have to worry about keeping the dog in the kennel or in the crate, or the dog running around or getting muddy. It was kind of wet that day. The dog was taken care of. So anyway, how do you translate moving skills? Yeah. Mary just said, yep, Evie volunteered to watch the dog for the day. Yes, of course I did. So how do you transfer those moving skills to your business? It's all about the planning. It's all about the goal setting. So each of those things that I listed out, I'm going to expand on it a little bit. I'm going to go through the steps here, and then I'll go back and I'll go in a little more detail for each one. So set your intention. Give it a due date, set goals around your intention, make a list of all the tasks that will make your goal a success, complete the tasks in a timely manner, know what your strengths are and ask for help when needed, show appreciation for those that helped you reach your goal, and celebrate when you reach your goal. So it seems on the surface just really straightforward, right? Just, okay, these are the things I do. But anyone who has ever tried to reach a goal knows that it's not always so straightforward. So let's break each one down just a little bit. So set your intention. Now you'll note that I didn't say set a goal. So it's a little bit of semantics here, but to me, a goal is something that I can control, something that I can say I did or I didn't do. So having a goal be sell $5,000, in the next 2 weeks. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made by other people in that process. So I would say that's an intention, because I can talk to 50 people and that can be my goal. However, I can't force 10 of those 50 people to sign up for whatever I'm selling, right? So I can set the intention to sell $5,000 or to add 10 people to XYZ program, but I can't make those decisions for them, right? So that to me is an intention. Like, my intent is, a goal is how I'm going to make that intention a reality. So the goals that might surround that intention are invite 30 people to the Facebook group, or to have a conversation with me or something like that. It might be to show up and be in front of 200 people, and that might be, networking events where it adds up to 200 people. It could be, send emails to, whatever. So those are events that I can control. I can put myself in networking events where I can be in front of people. And then that counts toward the goal of being in front of, X number of people. I can set a goal to, list out X number of people and call them and reconnect, right? And that's something I have control over. So those would be the goals around that. So it's a little bit different than maybe the way that a lot of people talk about goal setting. But I like goals to be something that I can say, yes, I did that, and not necessarily something that I am making it somebody else's responsibility to say yes to me for me to reach my goal. Does that make sense? So if anybody has any questions about that, let me know. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about it and clarify it. Just let me know what the question is. So step 2, give it a due date. So you want to make sure you have this is when this is going to be done date for your intention, and also then for each of the goals that surrounds that intention, right? So and they don't have to be the same date. You might want to stagger them a little bit or set, sub goals up. So make a list of the tasks that will make your goal or your project a success. So if your goal is to go to, X number of networking events, start looking at, okay, what are the steps there? Find new networking events, put 3 new ones on the calendar, say, yes, I'm going to attend to these 2 networking events that I normally attend. Like, what are those steps? If it's phone calls, who are the people you're going to call? When are you going to call them? Do you have a general idea about how you want the conversation to flow or what you're going to say to them? If you want to use a script, use a script. If you don't, you just want to have some bullet points. Bullet points are usually better because it doesn't sound like you're reading a script. But know what it is that you are talking to them about. If you're inviting them to a program or to a Facebook group or to a networking event or whatever it is, have a reason that you're inviting them. Don't just say, hey, I'm inviting you to come with me to this. That maybe if they're your best friend, you can do that. But if you're calling somebody that you don't know very well and say, hey, I have this networking event, you should attend, why should they attend? Tell them a little bit about why you thought of them for that invitation. Complete the tasks in a timely manner. So make sure that you know how much time you think it's going to take, and just kind of check in with yourself. Is this taking more time or less time? And don't give see, this is one of those things where it's really tricky. So sometimes things take as much time as we give them. So it might be a 5-minute task and somehow we can stretch it out to be a half hour. But it doesn't take long. Like if you had to run out the door and you needed to get the task done, you could get the task done. So give yourself a time limit to do them and notice if it's taking longer. And just maybe check in with yourself. Why is it taking longer? Is it taking longer because the page took a little bit more time to load and then you were off and running with something else on your phone? Like, just pay attention to what's going on and maybe why it's taking more time. Know your strengths and ask for help when needed. So when you're going through and you're setting your goals, and when you're creating those steps to reach the goal, look at it and find out, is there something that you need some help with? If you're promoting a new program and you're planning on using social media, who do you know, like Mary Wu, who do you know that might be able to help you with how to plan that out and how to schedule those posts and when those should go out and what other things need to be in the mix so it's not real spammy, right? If you're looking to do Facebook ads, who do you maybe need to talk to about how to do Facebook ads? If you are looking to do speaking engagements, who might you need to talk to, or what connections might you need to get into different places where you can speak in front of your ideal audience? If it requires, if you have a goal that requires you to do something you've never done before, who might you need to talk to? Or if you're doing a goal that you've done before, but there's this one piece that just isn't in your area of expertise, who can help you with that? Who might you hire or collaborate to help you with that piece that takes you, 2 days when it would take this other person 2 hours, okay? So think about, who are those people that you can partner with or you can hire to help you out with the pieces that you might need help with, or the things that you might need a little more training around. And when you're asking for help, be clear what you expect from the other person. So it's not, it's not something where when you're asking somebody to help you that you're dumping it in their lap and then you're getting frustrated because they didn't do it the way you thought they were going to do it. Be very clear about what it is you want and what it is you're expecting from that person so that they can make a decision then about whether it's something that they can do. So be very clear what the need is and what you expect from the other person. Show appreciation for those that helped you reach your goal. So when you reach your goal, or when you're at the end of the time, the due dates come, the intention is met or it's not met, say thank you to the people that helped you get there, the people that supported you. You know, say thank you to them. Give them a hug if you're a hug type person, but acknowledge the people who helped you get that. And that doesn't mean you have to like make a long elaborate Facebook post. It could be a phone call just to say thank you. It could be a note, and it could be a hug the next time you see them. You know, whatever it is that is you is a way that you would say thank you. Say thank you. And last but not least, if you reach your goal, or rather when you reach your goals, when you accomplish that intention, celebrate. So often we reach a milestone, we reach, and what's the word I'm looking for? We reach our goals, we achieve that intention, and we're just looking for, okay, now what's next? And we're not taking the time to step back and say, hey, look what I did, isn't that cool? And that's not about like self-aggrandizing or anything. It's just acknowledging that you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you achieved something that you wanted to achieve. So just know that that's an important step too. When you're setting intentions and you're setting goals, make sure that you are also taking the time to celebrate in whichever way that works best for you. You know, do that. So my question for you is, what steps are you maybe missing when you're setting intentions and setting goals? What is something that you heard that you're thinking, oh, you know, that would be really helpful if I added that to how I'm setting goals? Or what's something that you do when you're setting goals and setting intentions that I didn't list? I'd love to know that too. So let's see if there are any questions here that I've missed. No questions. So if you have any questions, if you think of any later, let me know. Again, coming up in June, we start June 22nd, but there's a couple of things that will be actually starting a week early, so it'll be starting June 15th. But the program is Take Your Productivity to a new level, and it's a 4-week productivity mastery course. I would love for you to join us. We will cover topics like this, but we'll do it in a little more depth, and you will have guides that will walk you through how to do this for yourself step by step. So you won't just have me telling you, hey, these are the steps you need to do. When it comes time to implement, which we'll also have implementation time in our time together each week, you'll have those steps to go through and fill out on your own as we do it. And I'll also be available, you know, as you're doing those for any questions or comments or snide remarks that you might have as you go through those. So I would love it if you would join me for this course that's coming up. I'm really excited about it. I realized when I was starting to put together the details for what was going to be in the program that this program has been living in my head for 5 years, almost 6 years, because I was going through an old notebook looking for something in particular. It was on my computer. I use OneNote, and found a rough draft that's really very similar to what I ended up going with some ideas already sketched out that I went, oh, that's pretty good. I don't have to recreate that. So I would love it if you would join me there. I'm really excited about the program, and I think I know you'll get a lot out of it should you choose to join us. So again, that's Take Your Productivity to a New Level. It's my signature program that's launching in June, and I would love it if you would join us. So that brings us to the end of this week's Spending Time with Evie. Or spending time. Yes, you are spending time with me, but Wednesday Live with Evie. And again, the topic was golf, moving, and goal setting. So while I am not a golf player, I did enjoy walking the golf course. It was just gorgeous. So think about which moving experience or which goal setting experience you want to have in your business, and go through those steps and create the business that you love. So until next week, much love, and I'll see you then.